Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations as always to the elect. All right, those of you who are coming back to the Most High, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, whose Hebrew name is Yahweh, all right, through the sacrifice made by his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, through whom we have received the Holy Spirit in these latter days to fulfill the very prophecies that are written of the remnant returning, all right, which is causing uproar, all right, which is causing the religion of Christianity, which once dominated the minds of our people, to be cast down, all right? And this is all happening by the will of the Lord. This is not a movement, all right, such as the Black Panther movement, all right, or any other movement that our people have tried, you know, to so say, get themselves together. All right, this movement, what you see with the Israelites raising up all throughout the four corners of the earth, all right, coming back to their true biblical heritage and nationality, okay, it is prophecy. It is in various prophecies that the remnant of Israel would awaken in the latter days. Okay, and since we've been out preaching, start with our apostles and elders, okay, you've always had, okay, the naysayers. You've always had, those who opposed, okay, and it's only going to get worse. Now, I wanted to do a follow-up because through watching brothers' videos, I found out the YouTube page of this particular documentary. Now, over the years, we've told you the likes of Vocab Malone, and these particular so-called Christians, all right, they will be doing a documentary. Now, this documentary here is called Unspoken, all right, and though you don't see Vocab Malone's face in here, I guarantee you he has something to do with it. And there's going to be more documentaries. Look out for the One West documentary. Okay, we've been telling you through the Spirit all of these things would happen and what were going to happen, and they're happening. And it's all through the Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, so this page is called the Jude 3 Project. All right, now when you go to the book of Jude, ironically, we've been speaking on that of late because within Israel you have these apostate churches. Okay, and with this particular channel and these particular Jakes who are over this project, which they're all set up. Okay, we know who's at the forefront of this. Okay, they're of the mindset that, what's happening with the Israelites is a form of apostate from Christianity. Now, when you look up the word apostasy, it's an abandonment of the truth, basically. Okay, leaving off from the original values. So what they're saying is this channel is set up. As a matter of fact, let's just click on it and read their mission statement. Okay, of course they're going to make money off of it. Okay, and when you look at the title of the videos on this channel, I just clicked on one. Let's see if I can find it. We'll look at that Unspoken documentary, but there's a video on this channel where it asks, should the church, you see that? Should the church, see this title, should the church shun the LGBTQIA community? Okay, and when you look at this video, they're doing nothing but tap dancing around the issue. They don't say yay or nay. They don't condemn it. They don't go into the laws. They don't go into Romans, the first chapter, which gives you the answer. Okay, so ultimately what this thing is set up is to keep our people in that dumbed down, rebellious state, all in the name of love, all in the name of black. And it's rooted in keeping you Israelites, all right, in particular Judah, because Judah would be at the forefront of the Israelites waking up in prophecy. Okay, the Lord said he would raise up the tents of Judah first. Okay, so in Judah is the head tribe, right? So you're going to see a lot of emphasis put on keeping Judah, all right, from coming to the understanding, because there's a special assignment given unto Judah. When you go to Deuteronomy, the 33rd chapter, the blessing of Judah was to, stand and go out and preach, and his brethren would be gathered unto him. All right. So the Lord has raised up the tents of Judah. He did that at the time, when Yahushua came on the scene, the circumcision that believed on him. All right. That was gathered from Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And in these times, okay, the tents of Judah is being raised up, going out preaching. And what it has resulted in is all of the tribes are now being gathered. Okay. As a matter of fact, let's get that real quick. See if I can get it in this app here. And this is pretty much off the top, so bear with me. Sitting here doing some thinking, and I was like, let me just do this video real quick. Deuteronomy 33. And 7. This is Moses blessing, all right, the Israelites, giving them prophecies, before he passed away. Deuteronomy 33:1. And this is the blessing of Judah. And he said, hear Yahweh, the voice of Judah, and bring him unto his people. Let his hands be sufficient for him, and be thou an help to him from his enemies. Okay, so the Lord has placed a special spirit upon Judah for the purpose of the ministry. As the scriptures even say, I believe in Hosea, Judah is faithful with the saints. All right, so even going back into the history of, the temple, the Hasmonean dynasty was the southern kingdom, which pretty much fought, for the name of Israel to remain relevant. Okay, the northern kingdom, there was remnants of them being faithful. Okay, but at the end of the day, in these latter days, and that's a lot of history that goes into that. In these latter days, okay, the Lord has raised up Judah. You see, and it's resulted in all of the tribes, okay, being brought unto him through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. All right, now these people who run this project, okay, what are they trying to tell our people? All right, what is the main focus of their ministry? Well, look at the shirts. $39.99. God made me black on purpose. They want you to remain black. So we know that there's another group of people that are behind this whole program. We're going to show you a little history on that. The whole African American thing. Who's at the forefront of making sure that was taught, all right, worldwide in colleges and universities? It was two small hats. And we'll show you all of that, all right? It says Black history starts in the Bible, right? So here it is. They're trying to act as if they're telling you so-called blacks, all right, that you are the people of the Bible, but they don't want to go through the truth of the matter. They don't want to deal with the Israelite part. There is no nation in the Bible called black. Black history starts in the Bible. More convos, less debates. Black history starts in the Bible. So you already see the spirit they're coming in. Now you go to the mission statement. All right. The primary mission of the Jude 3 project is to help the Christian community know that they know what they believe and why they believe it. Distinctive in its strong emphasis in equipping those of African descent in the United States and abroad. Now, here it is. These are so-called Bible believers. Where can we go into the Bible and find a nation called African? What is an African descent? Right? The vision of the ministry encompasses apologetics, which Vocab Malone and all of them are a part of this, that address current issues and the intellectual struggles of Christians of African descent in the United States and abroad. All right. And what do we teach our people? That the Israelites are scattered abroad. So this is basically like they're trying to undermine the Israelite aspect of the Bible and replace it with pseudoscience of Esau, Edom. And we'll show you how all of this ties together in just a minute. We are committed to equipping the local church that the mandate of Jude, all right, the first chapter, which is only one chapter, and the third verse might be fulfilled. Contend for the faith that was once, all right, for all entrusted to God's holy people. So here it is. They're trying to act as if they're telling you you are the holy people. Okay, but it's coming from the perspective that you're African. And when you get the book of Jude, okay, it's Jude. Let's read verse 3. Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful. And who's the beloved? The house of David, which are Israelites. Okay, let's type in African in the Bible and see how many times it comes up. Okay, 0 verses found. Let's type in Judah. Okay, I mean, unlimited. All right, 10 plus pages worth of scriptures that say Judah. So who in the hell is African American? The beloved, which David means beloved, is speaking of the house of David, the tabernacle of David, all right, that is being rebuilt. And it started when Yahushua came on the scene and gathered his disciples. Okay, and it's being finished in the latter days according to prophecy that the Lord would rebuild the tabernacles as in the days of old. If the Lord is going to build up the tabernacle as in the days of old, okay, when David established his throne, who was ruling? The Israelites. So this is to keep you confused, and this is proof that they're losing. Now it says, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, which the salvation is for the Israelites. And I have a lesson going into what true salvation is. Okay? The heathen nations will never receive salvation. Now, through the Israelites being established, okay, under Yahushua, okay, paradise is going to be set up on the planet Earth. Now, yes, there's going to be judgments, but the heathen will have to be subject unto the government of the Israelites. Yahushua, the 144, and the rest of all Israel will be the dominant race, the dominant people of the planet Earth. They have a blessing that no other nation will partake in. However, once everything is established, okay, the heathen will be blessed as they bless us, and as they are obedient unto the law, statutes, and commandments, which that's what's going to come to the earth in the form of a government when it's all said and done. Okay, we're going to establish a government where the law, statutes, and commandments will be the standard of the earth, and the heathen will have to be in subject to it. That's all throughout the scriptures. All right. Now it says, it was needful for me to write unto you and to exhort you that ye should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints. So what they're saying is they're contending for the true faith, which is Christianity, and that these particular movements they see raising up amongst our people, in particular what they're talking about is the Israelites, because they're not really worried about the Muslims. The only thing they're going to use the Muslims for, or Islam, is to try to link us to terrorism. It's not a threat at the end of the day, but they keep that in their back pocket. Like you look at Vocab Malone's page, they keep that whole Islam thing out in the air to try to link us to terrorism. And we've showed you various times. Everything that we told you all that you were going to do, you've been doing it. And this is no different. Now, when you go, all right, we've broke down verse 4. You know, at that time, there were particular men coming amongst the church, getting breakdowns, then breaking off and starting their own church, acting like they came up with it on their own. The same things we see happening now. But verse 5 says, I will therefore put you in remembrance, though you once knew this, how that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them which believe not. Okay, and who did he deliver out of Egypt? Israelites. Okay, Israelites. That's what this whole thing is about, the Israelites. But they want to take that understanding out of the scriptures and present to you this whole African garbage. Now, we're going to go to this all right, you can go to their Facebook, you can go to online courses, you can buy hoodies, all right, which the scriptures say, buy the truth and sell it not, man. Now, let's go to this documentary. See that? Church membership among Black Americans has increased or decreased by 19% in the past 2 decades. And it's even higher than that. Why is that? Because you all don't have the truth, man. You're not teaching the truth. All right. You've actually made our people, the religion of Christianity has actually made our people worse. You have all of these churches in the hoods, and in front of them, our people are sitting there selling drugs. Okay, being prostitutes, doing all manner of wickedness. I grew up, all right, and you'll have a Pentecostal church, a Baptist church, a Seventh-day Adventist church, this kind of church, a non-denominational church, all on one strip. Okay, all of this confusion. Then you'll have a Catholic church. Okay, and then they want to come amongst the Israelites and say, you guys have divisions. Well, when you go into the scriptures, okay, there was divisions when the disciples were on the scene, when the Messiah was on the scene amongst Israelites. Okay? But the bottom line is that the truth would always prevail, and it would always be centered around who the Israelites are in the Israelites in the latter days. All right? As well. Now, let's keep listening.
I think we haven't done a great job of answering this question. Is Christian?
You see that? That woman, she comes off very, manly, masculine, and then this dude comes off very feminine. Now, we already saw this part, so I'm gonna let it play, but I want to get to the part where the 3 Jakes are sitting there talking. But that's what you get in church. You get masculine, bold women, and then you get weak, effeminate men. All right, and we know that alphabet behavior lingers in that church. Why do you think when they did that video saying, should the church accept the alphabet agenda, why they danced around it? Look at the video. That's an easy answer. See? But all of this is set up to keep you in that dumbed down state.
The white man's religion.
I can understand that concern.
Why would you ever, how can you say, yield yourself, to the faith that has been used to perpetuate your oppression?
So since I've come to college, I'm not going to lie, I tell people all the time, yeah, I'm not a Christian anymore.
If you believe that a spiritual system is on the wrong side of a moral issue, then obviously that's not going to bode well for that spiritual system.
And that dude is linked to Vocab Malone. Vocab's hand is in this. Don't get it twisted. Okay? They want you to call yourselves African. They're not comfortable with you calling yourself Israelites. Okay?
We're witnessing as a church that is not only on the margins nationally, but unfortunately, in some respects, it's being pushed to the margins within its own community.
And that Esau does it. All of these names you see are Jakes that are trained up in the mindset of Esau, who are going to be sent to keep you in that mindset. And it's no longer working. What does the scripture say for the leaders of this people? Okay. Uh-oh. Hold up. Get back. Was that Isaiah 9? Let's see here. Okay. I don't know why it doesn't do that. For the leaders of this people. Isaiah 9:16. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. All right. The scriptures say our people have been a lost sheep. Okay. They're shepherds. What's that? Jeremiah. Jeremiah 50:6. And this is what's happening here in these latter days. Okay. Jeremiah 50:6. Now, Jeremiah 50, the Christian church will tell you, well, that's the Old Testament. Well, when you read this, and that's the thing, the Old Testament is not done away with. The old covenant of how the Israelites will be brought into the promised land and in good graces with the Heavenly Father, that's what's done away with. We are now under a grace period, but the second covenant is coming, and it's only for Israelites pursuing to Jeremiah 31, Hebrews 8, and various other scriptures, which we've constantly brought out, but they undermine all of that. Now, this is what's happening. Jeremiah 50, all right, and 4, at the time where you would hear of wars and rumors of wars and different things happening, which we see in those days. And at that time, saith the Lord, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, all 12 tribes. Okay, there's no such thing as a replacement theology. You can't replace the promise that was made to Abraham, his seed, Isaac, his seed, Jacob, and his seed. You can't replace that. Jeremiah 33 cuts you on that, but it says, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping, they shall go and seek Yahweh their God. And that's happening. All 12 tribes. They shall ask for the way to Zion with their faces thitherward. All right. Turning to the east, praying. We see all of that happening now, saying, come and let us join ourselves unto Yahweh in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. And when Jeremiah wrote this letter, okay, he wrote it to the captives at Babylon. But when you read the letter, it's actually speaking of the daughter of Babylon, which is described in Revelation, the 18th chapter, which would be the final captivity of the Israelites. Okay, Babylon the Great, which is America, the beast system fulfilled. All right, adds NATO and the EU, European Union, Esau's blessing being fulfilled on the planet Earth. All right, my people. Okay, and this is what you see, the Israelites returning, Judah and Israel, or Judah and Ephraim. Okay, which the last time all of those 12 tribes were together was under David and Solomon, who for 40 years of peace established the throne of David, and that was disbanded. All right, and pretty much the kingdom has been split, and we've been going through various different captivities. According to Daniel, the 7th chapter, you have 4 beasts. Okay, the Assyrian, Babylonian, all right, the Persians and the Medes, okay, the Greeks and the Romans, okay, and then that Roman Empire will be revived in the latter days through America, all right, going back to the Renaissance, all the way up to America, NATO, the EU, you had the Treaty of Rome, all of that. We're in Rome all over again, which is Babylon the Great. That's a whole nother lesson for a whole nother time. It says, my people have been a lost sheep. Their shepherds, your leaders, have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. Okay, they've sent you to to trust in the government, these different churches, these different religions, these different handouts. Everything has been a snare unto you. Voting. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. Jake is all over the place. That's why they're so easily manipulated. All right, when they don't know that they're Israelites. And then they want to keep you in that manipulated state. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversary said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. So they know if they can keep us calling ourselves black, calling ourselves African, and all these various different things, and the rest of the tribes as well, all right, so-called Latinos, Native American, all, if they can keep, and they got to keep Judah off track, though. Remember, Judah is the head tribe. Okay, Judah, out of all of the tribes called hell, but Judah called it the worst. All right, because remember, it was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi who were face to face with the Messiah and rejected him, man. All right, straight up. So anyway, but the rest of the tribes called hell as well. Now, going back here, this documentary, they show the Israelites because they're like, damn, really, they know that the reason they're failing and the reason that no one wants to hear them anymore is because of the rise of the Israelites. Now, they showed the Sakari camp, all right, which they're just one of many camps that are being raised up. Okay? Just keep listening.
I'm Lisa Fields.
I'm Christopher Lamarck. And I'm Don Carey. We're the creators of the Unspoken documentary, which is a film that traces the Christian heritage of Africa to dispel the notion of Christianity being a white man's religion.
See that? They want to tell you Israelites that Christianity was being practiced in Africa. They're going to skip over the various findings of Hebrew customs being practiced in Africa, which there's various studies out there. And they want to link you to Africa. Now, why is this? Who's at the forefront of this whole Africa thing? Real quick, let's listen to a little bit more.
Yes, and this is a vital topic for our day. Many of us have been walking around, meeting people, knowing people who walked away from the church, and they always have this question: is Christianity a white man's religion? I know you probably heard it from your kids that walked away from the faith, your family members, your friends.
In this modern church that we have in Babylon the Great and scattered throughout the world is a result of Edomite supremacy. The Edomites, there's no such thing as a white person. All right. These are all terms of pseudoscience that are used to help forward the enemy's agenda. There's no such thing as a white person, a black person, an African. You cannot undermine. You can't say you believe in the Bible, yet you want to undermine the biblical nationalities that were set by the Most High. All right. Now, all of this is happening. Meanwhile, you got a group of people saying that they're the true chosen people and nobody's questioning them. Nobody's coming at them sideways. This is really an attack to come at the Israelites. Now, this whole African thing real quick, and I've brought this out before, okay? Because, you know, the pro-black Kemet movement, you know, they always make this statement, well, the Bible is a white man's book. Edomite wrote a book that has Leviticus 20 and 13 in it. Read that. When you go into this book, when you go into the Bible, it's totally opposed to Esau's way of ruling and living. He didn't write this book. The prophets wrote this book, and they were all inspired, all right, by Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai. But what book does any man have that a man didn't write? Okay, it's just who inspired them as they wrote it, and we believe through faith. All right, that it was the scriptures is inspired by Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. Now, when you go into the English, yes, there's words that you have to go deeper into. Yeah, there's stumbling blocks because the English language is not our original language. However, the truth, the overall spirit of the truth is here. Now, when you go into these Egyptologists, who, you know, all of the founders of Egyptology and African Americanism and all of that, you'll find out they're all Edomites. Here's the fathers of Egyptology. Now, in specifically the study of African American history or African American, okay, being placed on you Israelites and taught in schools, traces back, all right, to two small hats. And when we say small hats, we're talking about the 1948ers. All right. And we'll show you. Meet the fathers of African history. The anthropologist who created the fields of African American studies. Okay, and you really think your enemy is going to give you a race and a legacy to follow after? It was all a snare. All right, now look at the years they were around. All right, it says anthropologists who created the fields of African American studies and African studies in today's universities and institutions. They were teachers of W.E.B. Du Bois, a Boule. Okay, I believe I heard he was a tear, but either way it goes, he was a member of the Black Boule. Okay, set up to keep you. He's a gatekeeper to keep you going off. Okay, it's a whole nother history. It says it said they were teachers of W.E.B. Du Bois, Zora Neale Hurston, another sellout, among many others. All right, and that's why during so-called Black History Month, they shove all these notable figures down your throat. Frederick Douglass, all of these sellouts. Martin Luther King. Okay, when when any of these people they shoved down your throat started to try to change their mind, they were immediately silenced or put to death. MLK said himself that I feel like I led my people into a burning house. And the spirit of MLK is still messed in our people's minds, running around here marching to be accepted by those who hate them. Okay? This is it's imperative that you understand the story of Jacob and Esau. It's imperative that you understand the scriptures and why you're here. Okay? Because it keeps you from being taken advantage of, okay, and manipulated. All right? That burning house that MLK led us to is still is destroying our people unto this day, going around marching and crying for the devil to accept you. Anyway, Franz Boas and Melville Herskovitz. Not only does Black America out of Africa motherland concept come from white eugenist Charles Darwin, but Black Americans' historical connection to the landmass presently known as Africa is based upon two, all right, small hats. You see that name right there, right? All right, because we know that these people are at the end, based upon two JOOs. You see that name? And that's what these two are. All right, now to give you a brief understanding of what was going on around this time, okay, it was all kind of studies going on, linking the so-called blacks, okay, to being beast, being 3/5 of a human being, being inherently stupid, being savages, other tribes as well, right? So these two, what they did was they came from another perspective. No, they do have a nationality. They're Africans. And I'm going to show you a speech that this dude Franz Boas did as he was at a graduation, and W.E.B. Du Bois had him come and speak at that graduation. It's no different than these pastors allowing these politicians to come into the churches when it's time to vote and feed you some lies. It says, for the sole purpose of suppressing the records of so-called Black Americans' origins and indigenous history in America with academic institutions created by Edomite supremacy. So there you go. They're at the forefront of this whole, the blacks in America are Africans. Now, the landmass where we originated, Israel, it is closely located to Africa. And that's funny, all of the people from that region are dark skinned. All right. But when it comes to the true, all right, people of the Bible, all right now you have a group of pale people saying that they're those people. Anyway, we'll get into all of that in a minute. So what I'm going to do, let's see here. Do I have anything else? Yep. There he go. There he goes. All right. Yep. You can just read those on your own. And they if you don't think they're working hard to make sure they're gonna stop this truth, you crazy. Well, you see what J. Edgar Hoover said, there will never be another black Messiah unless we create him. Well, who was the first black Messiah? All right. Credibility of pastors waning as influence of Christian loses cultural dominance. Christianity is losing. Okay, 1664, Maryland. I'm just looking through these pictures before I go to this article. A Maryland law specifies that blacks who converted to Christianity will nonetheless remain slaves forever. They know that if they can keep you following this religion, okay, they got you. Okay? Franz Boas, okay, a ish German-American anthropologist, and we'll get to this article too. Melville Herskovitz, okay, and we'll show you he was a small hat too. There you go. A ish American anthropologist. So this whole thing of the black Americans being tied to Africa and African American goes back to these two people. So while all of these studies were going on to say that these people are savages, they're stupid, they're this, they're that, these two came along and said what? All right? No, you do have a culture. Now let's listen, let's read a little bit of this speech, all right, by Franz Boas, all right? Let's see here. Black Central Europe, it's a website. It says Franz Boas on African achievements and how to challenge racism in 1906. So he came from a different perspective. He came, and you can look it up on YouTube, there's videos on it. And Jake worships him. Jake, when you go to a lot of these high level, Pan-Africanists, they say that this is the father of anthropology, him and Melville Herskovitz. Anyway, Franz Boas, 1858 to 1942, was a German-American anthropologist trained in Berlin who eventually made his name as a professor at Columbia University. All right, now I'm going to jump here. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah. It says he shaped the physical features and ways of thinking, although he was not completely free of the prejudices of his time. His insights, nevertheless, inspired anthropologists like Margaret Mead and sociologists like W.E.B. Du Bois to see race as a construct rather than an essential fact. So it's all pseudoscience at the end of the day. All right. In 1906, W.E.B. Du Bois invited Boas to Atlanta to speak to the graduating class in his class. Let me calm down. It says, in his address, he chronicled a history of African contributions to human civilization and encouraged the students to be as clear-eyed, about the nobility of their heritage as they had to be about the challenges of improving the lot of African Americans in a society riven by racism. So he came from a different perspective. You do have a culture. Okay? You're African. All right? It says, importantly, he drew the experience of the 1948ers, the small hats, all right, which they had been going back to that land before 1948. Before the Balfour Declaration, you had the first Aliyah, the second Aliyah. You can look all of these things up where they were already gone and still in that land. All right? And calling themselves the Jews. Anyway, but what you're going to see is that he himself is going to say we are the chosen. We're the Judah. I'll say that. And y'all are Gentiles. Watch. In Europe, all right, he drew on the experience of Judah in Europe, but he's speaking of the small hats. When I say small hats, I'm speaking of 1948. Okay? speaking of those people who are currently inhabiting the land, saying that they're the chosen, right? So he drew on the experience of the small hat in Europe to the depth of such divisions, called it awakening. Now, this is his speech, and I'm just going to read through a little bit of this, and then you can look it up on your own. Lord willing, I can leave the link in the description. Let's see here. I forget, I was reading it last night, so there were different points I wanted to just jump to. But the fundamental requirement, let's see here. So he's talking to them about the struggle, and you are somebody, the fundamental requirement for useful activity on your part is a clear insight into the capabilities of your own race. If you did accept the view that the present weakness of the American Negro, his uncontrolled emotions, his lack of energy are racially inherent, which that was the studies that was going on through the pseudoscience, through Darwin and the various other Edomites. Let's not forget the British. Okay? Let's not forget all of the hell, because going from the Renaissance period up to the point that we're reading about, they had been wreaking havoc on Israel. All right, and creating all kind of sciences and doctrines and ideologies of who you are and why you're so stupid, because they're Edomites. That's what they're supposed to do. But those pseudosciences have controlled the narrative of who you really are for ages. So to see us come out of that box, it scares them. So Franz Boas was one of the good ones, so to speak. No, they're not inherently stupid. They have a culture. Now let's listen. It says his lack of energy are racially inherent, because they say we inherently are stupid, basically. That's the pseudoscience. You read things like the bell curve. You read things like the low IQ, intelligence quotient. These are tests, okay, which were borrowed from, there's a lot of history in this, going back to, it's a lot of history. It's names that I say that may get the video taken down, but going back, they use particular tests in Germany, all right, to sterilize people, to kill people, okay, and to label them not fit to live, or and that's how they do Jake, all right, standardized testing. All right, they basically can say your intelligence quotient isn't fit, so you deserve the worst treatment. You deserve bad food. You deserve bad education. You're a beast. Anyway, we got videos on all of this. The Elder Malcolm likes to touch on this too. It says, let's see here. If you did accept the view that the present weakness of the American Negro, his uncontrolled emotion, his lack of energy are racially inherent, your work would still be a noble one. If you accepted this, that would be noble. All right. But you niggas are in college. So you're a more fortunate member of your race, right? Will give your life to a great charitable work, to support the unsteady gait of your weak brother who is too feeble to walk by himself. So basically he's sitting there saying, we know y'all all stupid, but you're a part of the better ones. You've graduated through our universities and institutions. Good job, nigga. But you have the full right to view your labor in an inherently different light. All right? Because that was the known thought about you niggas back then. All right? You're stupid, inherently dumb. You're natural sinkers because you can't swim because you're natural sinkers. All of that garbage, man. Okay? And that rules everybody's mind about who you are. It's all in the scriptures, man. He blasphemed the name. He blasphemed the tabernacle. He blasphemed those that dwell in heaven. Israel's the tabernacle. Okay, it says, let's see here. The achievement of races are not only what they have done during a short span of 2,000 years, when with rapid increasing numbers of total, yada, 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 is not great, yada, yada. You could read more on this. There was a bunch that I saw last night, and I'm trying to get through it. Let's see here. Even if we refrain from speculating on the earliest times conceding that it is difficult to prove the exact locality where so important an invention was made as that of smelting iron, or where African millet was first cultivated, or where chickens and cattle were domesticated. And farming goes back to the Levant region. Okay, our people, Israelites, the Fertile Crescent. Okay, but he's basically saying you do have accomplishments. You're not as stupid as they all are saying you are. I'm a different kind of Edomite, boy. It says, and this is important to know, it says the evidence of African ethnology is such that it should inspire you with the hope of leading your race from achievement to achievement. Okay? Shall I remind you of the power of the military exhibited by the Zulu, whose kings and armies swept the southeastern Africa? Shall I remind you of the local chiefs who, by dint of the diplomacy, bravery, and wisdom, united the scattered tribes of areas into flourishing kingdoms? All right, so basically he's going on. Look, Sudan, when you read here, if you wish to understand the possibilities of the African under the stimulus of a foreign culture, you may look towards Sudan, Shahara. Now, you do have Israelites scattered over here, all right, but this is all mind games. Basically, the upper niggas who graduate and go through these college institutions, which I've been through those colleges, you don't learn nothing. I went to a black college. I didn't learn nothing. It was all Edomite ideology being taught. Anyway, it says, we hear that the old Negro kingdoms were early conquered by the Mohammedans under the guidance of the Arabs, but later by their own initiative. So he's basically breaking down your so-called history, okay, saying you are somebody, all right? And this is good. When you read it all, there's actually a lot in here that you can point out, but for the sake of the time of the lesson, I'm going to just go through. You keep seeing African kings, Africa. Okay? Those who stoutly maintain a material inferiority of the Negro race and who would dampen your ardor by their claims, you may confidently reply to that burden of proof. Reply that the burden of proof rests with them, that the past history of your race does not sustain their statement, because it was well known that you weren't SHIT back then. Okay? So what he's doing is coming and saying, you are somebody. You're a Negro. You have something to look into. You're great. Look at all of these great African kings. And it was the whole point was to separate you from who you really were, but in a very, very nice way. Remember what the scriptures say. Okay? Isaiah 30:7. For the Egyptians shall help in vain. Okay? Who's the modern day Egyptian? Who's the modern day Pharaoh? Where were we brought into slave ships again? Egypt. Where would our dead bodies lie? In the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, which is Babylon the Great. So anything they're going to come to you with and say here is going to help you, it's in vain and to no purpose. Therefore have I cried concerning this, and their strength is to sit still. All right, Lamentations 4:17. As for us, our eyes have yet failed. For our vain help in watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. All right, look into Esau, Edom. Look into these heathen nations for something to tell us, to make us feel good about ourselves. That's a history of Jake. If Esau didn't tell it to us, we don't think it's true. See? When you should look far away from Esau. He's the devil. Now, when you get Revelation 11, right? What does it say? Revelation 11:8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is Babylon the Great, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And this is speaking all in spirit. See? This is that spiritual Sodom and Egypt. We don't have to tell you why this is spiritual Sodom. And how is this spiritually Egypt? Enslavement, Look at the back of your dollar bill. You see Egyptian customs, all right, all throughout this place. This is that spiritual Egypt that the Israelites were brought into slavery again on ships, okay? And that Esau came over, all right, and stole from them, okay? And this is a whole history. You have various lessons, but why were we in a dead state? Okay? Why were we laying in the streets of the city in a dead state? And this goes to Ezekiel the 37th chapter, the dry bones. Okay? Hold up. Proverbs 21:16, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So what Esau does is he systematically sets up leaders. He systematically sets up doctrines and ideologies. Even when you think you have a liberation, even when you think you're hearing something good about yourself, it's really to undermine you and to what? Keep you in the congregation of the dead. Going back to Franz Boas, old Franz. Okay, so basically you can read this, all right, but he's basically saying I'm different than the rest of the ones who study you. Okay, you do have a history. Then he jumps verse here. The best example, however, is that, all right, the small hats of Europe, a people slightly distinct in type, but originally differing considerably in customs and beliefs from the people among whom they lived. The separation of the Jew and the Gentile was enforced for hundreds of years, and very slowly only the various occupations open to him. So what he's doing is saying we had our own struggle as Jews, because he's one, right? But what did he's basically saying, for years the Jew and the Gentile have been separated, but I am closing that gap. So basically he's saying you're the Gentile and I'm the Jew. Anyway, it says even now the feeling of inequality persists, and to the feeling of many the term assigns to the bearer an exceptional position. And this is so although the old barriers have fallen, although in the creative works of our times in industry, commerce, science, and art, all right, the Jew holds a respected place, all right, meaning we're better than you. Even now, there lingers the consciousnness of the old, sharper divisions which ages have not been able to efface, yada, yada, yada. Not only here and there expressions as related to the Jewish type in France. So he's going through history. You can read the rest of this. I mean, it's a lot, but you pick up a lot. At the end, he says your advance depends on your steadfastness of purpose. All right. While the white man may err from the path of righteousness, and if he falls by the wayside, will have to bear the blame for his weakness individually. Any failure of your race, in particular any fault of one of you who have enjoyed the advantages of education, will be interpreted only too readily as a relapse into the old ways of an inferior race. So basically, you got to stay on this path of the educated Negro, because if you fall away from it, you're only going to fall back into what we always thought you were. That's a stupid nigga. So keep teaching African America, keep teaching this, keep teaching that. This is your history. These are your values. These are your customs. Boom. All right. That's a speech from Franz Boas. And what did we just show you? Okay. These are the fathers of African history. The fathers of so-called anthropology, the study of why races are who they are and how they are, which goes back to an assembly of Edomites who just lied and created all forms of madness. Oh my goodness. Okay, you are physicians of no value. Okay, now this is Melville Herskovitz. Okay, and there's a documentary called The Heart of Herskovitz at the Heart of Blackness, meaning these Edomites are heralded as the reason we have a culture, right? And it has nothing to do with the Bible. It has nothing to do with you being Israelites. It's all centered around keeping you in that black African garbage. Okay? Melville Herskovits, a ish American anthropologist of Slavic extraction who broke new ground in the definition and analysis of African American culture. In the film Herskovits at the Heart of Blackness, intellectuals and historians discuss the vast impact of heated debate Herskovits continued to inspire around our modern perception of cultural identity. And you can read, I'm not going to read through all of that, but all you would have to do is look it up. So all of this whole Africa, it's all spread. It's founded upon small hats. So that should give you an understanding of why you see these jakes hardcore pushing Africa, black. These are the faces you see before you. But who do you think is behind this?
We're the creators of the Unspoken documentary, which is a film that traces the Christian heritage of Africa to dispel the notion of Christianity being a white man's religion.
Yes, and this is a vital, vital topic for our day. Many of us have been walking around meeting people, knowing people who walked away from the church, and they always have this question: is Christianity a white man's religion? I know you probably heard it from your kids that walked away from the faith, your family members, your friends, and you've probably yourself been wrestling with it at times when you see the state of culture today. Well, we wanted to create a resource.
See, this is all regurgitating the pseudoscience, repackaging it, and I'm telling you, you people, you Israelites, man, what we're doing is big, brothers. It's changing the shape of the world. And if you all think this is going to work, you're only going to, no matter what clips you use, you're going to, probably show clips of camps and how, now our people, you have the Africans, they're trying to wake up and still, say that they're Israelites, yada, yada, yada. Right? But what this documentary is trying to do is to link you as a Christian back to Africa. Pseudoscience. They're trying to reestablish the pseudoscience of Esau Edom, man. That's it. Hurt. And we're going to watch it. And we're going to do responses. You just got a bunch of Christians
that will help you to
be
able to answer these objections in a way that people are getting information today.
So research shows that 75% of men would rather watch a story on a movie as opposed to reading it in a book. And so why the documentary? Well, we want to get this information out there in a way that's engaging, powerful, and immersive.
Yeah, I remember when we were at a Jude 3 Project HBC tour stop at Bethune-Cookman University, a young man came to the mic with tears in his eyes and said his friends had been challenging him on this notion that Christianity is the white man's religion, and their objections were compelling to him, and he didn't have the information to refute what they were saying, and he was about to walk away from the faith. And he said to us, I came here tonight because this was my last resort. If I don't get the answers I need tonight,
So what's happening is a lot of Jakes are waking up to the fact that the Christian church is a failure. They're questioning things. All right, you're hearing more and more Jakes. I don't go to church no more. Ain't nothing in there. All right. People who were hardcore Christians, nowadays, they don't even go. Now, a lot of them, like we say, turn into witchcraft. A lot of them are turning to this, to that. But a lot are turning to the fact that they're Israelites. So this page, when you look at it, all right, they have videos on how to approach Israelites, how to answer questions by the Israelites. It's all on this page. The brother, the elder Manata Zakba brought it up. You know, but I don't know exactly. You would have to look through the videos, but they have videos. And basically they're taking what we teach and they're trying to, you know, reverse it in a roundabout way. But they have videos on how to answer questions by the Hebrew Israelites, how to react when approached by a Hebrew Israelite, basically giving you a playbook. Do you leave the church to sin? What is sin? Do Black lives matter to Jesus? Yeah, you would have to look through it, but the elder showed it last night. Everything is centered around Black and African. So this is all set up, and it's just to further confusion. Oh, this guy. You just have to look through it, but women teaching, soft men, same old, same old. We've been here and done that. We already know this stance. You know?
Want to walk away from the faith. We've been working on this project for over 4 years, and we're excited that it has been filmed, edited, and ready to go. It's coming to you very soon. But we don't want to just do this alone. We want to do it alongside of you. We want to give you the opportunity to join us in this unprecedented effort to tell the story of Christianity from Africa to America that is going to impact millions of lives across the world.
So the question is, how do you partner with us? It's very easy. Just go to the link provided and follow the simple instructions on the crowdfunding platform.
So join us in this effort to bring this documentary to the rest of the world. Help us to dispel this notion and remove the barrier that exists for so many people.
Right. And this is ultimately to combat the truth. You see, the Israelites are waking up, man. All right. The Israelites are waking up. Y'all are hurt, you know, and you're not going to stop the progress because, you know, as we read, you know, as we've been reading, going into scriptures, what's happening with us, okay, the valley of dry bones, it's being fulfilled in our day. The Israelites are awakening to their true biblical nationality. They've thrown away these different lies. Okay, and it's still more to go. All right, but once the servants of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua are sealed, the destruction is going to come. That's why you see wars, rumors of wars, and all this other stuff. So I just wanted to get into that. You know, there was more, but I feel like the video went longer than I thought. So maybe we'll do a part 2. We'll see how that goes. On to the next, man. Shalom.